As a Christian, when an atheist come up to you and they're asking you, why do you think there's a God? And they're not even talking about Jesus yet. Some people just don't think there's a God. So you got to start with step one. As a Christian, you got to have something in your bag. This right here is the moral argument for why God exists.
There are no rights to anything if there's no God. There's no right to same-sex marriage if there's no God, just like there's no right to natural marriage if there's no God. There's no right to abortion if there's no God. There's no right to life if there's no God. There's no trans rights, human rights, Christian rights, women's rights. There are no rights of any kind if there is no God. Now, if there is a God...
Why not?
Because everything's just a matter of opinion. It's not a right. It's something. A right is something you get from your creator, who is the ground of goodness, and we're all obligated to obey. If there's no standard beyond governments, just like we couldn't prosecute the Nazi war criminals by saying that they were wrong if they just claimed, well, I'm just obeying my government. My government told me what to do. Yeah. Unless there's a standard beyond their government, and that standard is God's nature. It's what Thomas Jefferson called nature's law. C.S. Lewis called it the moral law in Mere Christianity. So unless God exists, everything's a matter of opinion. I always ask people, hey, if you Kansas City Chief fans out there, how do you know that when Patrick Mahomes threw that pick six in the Super Bowl, that was a bad play for you? And they go, oh, the rules? No, not just the rules. The score, not just the score. What do you need to know that that was a bad play? And the touchdown he threw later in the game was a good play? Because you have to, the only way you can know that is if you know the objective of the game. If there's no objective to the game, you can't say that the pick six takes us further away from the objective and the touchdown takes us closer to the objective. You can only say that you can only say those plays are different if there's no objective. Wow. Okay? And notice in football that the objective of the game comes from outside the game. In other words, when the Eagles and the Chiefs met for the Super Bowl, they didn't establish the objective. They didn't even establish the rules. They don't even enforce the rules. Where does all that come from? It comes from the commissioner and the competition committee and the refs, and every once in a while they'll tweak the rules. They can. Why? Because football's arbitrary. Well, in life, the rules come from outside the game as well, and so does the objective, but they're not arbitrary because they come from the ultimate source. They're based on God's nature, most of the rules anyway. And so the only way we could know here's the right way to live and here's the wrong way to live is if we have an objective for life. If there is no God, there is no objective. Everything's just up for grabs. If Hitler wants to murder people, he can do so. If Mother Teresa wants to love them, she can. Love isn't better than hate unless God exists, unless there's an objective and a standard beyond us.
Facts.
I've heard